We're going to pull the trigger in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Not Televised Revolution. We have the coolest dude on the internet. Trust me. Prove me wrong. Because that would be super fun. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Bob. How you guys doing?
Heck yeah. So I would like to have a lot of fun. Because I love fun. But that's not exactly what we're here to do today. Is that correct?
I think we've got kind of a heady topic when we I believe that we're diving into Venezuela right now.
Yeah. There's no really good way to make a fun introduction about this. It's above my grade.
Yeah. Well, it is fun in its own little way. To kind of peel it back in its own little way, layer by layer, it's got some appeal to me. Maybe I'm crazy.
Because you're a lunatic, but there's something healthy about being a lunatic. It just means you know too much sometimes, and you're having actually a healthy reaction. I don't see anything wrong with being a lunatic as long as you don't kill anybody.
As long as you enjoy your insanity, you stop suffering from it.
I'll have a conversation with you off camera, but let's get on topic.
Yeah, let's go. Venezuela. Here we go.
I'll read off some of the article, and you tell me what you think as we go. This is from the Washington Post. Venezuela's government and its foes are trying to show their strength Wednesday after opposition leader Juan Guaido launched a risky effort to enlist the military in toppling President Nicolas Maduro. Here's what we know so far. Thousands of anti-government demonstrators gathered in Caracas, heeding a call from Guaido, who attempted to regain momentum after Tuesday's largely unsuccessful gambit. Security forces used tear gas on some protesters. Maduro appeared triumphant on Wednesday, tweeting that his opponents, including the United States, will fail in their efforts to take our victories from us. Quote, a pro-government rally at the presidential palace drew about 500 people. That's it? U.S. officials, oh my God. U.S. officials said they had expected Maduro to flee. That's it? God damn it. Okay. We already made a pact that there's no guarantee we can separate our emotions from our news. Oh. We got to be upfront. Okay. Jesus Christ. U.S. officials said they had expected Maduro to flee for Cuba on Tuesday, but that Russia persuaded him not to. The Russian government dismissed the allegations as fake news. U.S. officials also said key Venezuelan officials, including the defense minister, had told the opposition that they would support Maduro's removal. They haven't done so.
Wow. I don't really. I mean, factually, it's pretty correct, and I don't really have too much to say about that, but yeah, 5,000 is that what I heard?
A pro-government rally at the presidential palace drew about 500 people. I don't know if that's true. Like, it seems like it should.
I'm pretty sure that the pro-government rally was also several thousand in the streets of Caracas, and that took place today. The anti-government rally took place yesterday. It was a couple thousand. It was several thousand as well.
I get it. I fell for the damn trick. They're talking about like a single protest. So if you multiply this by geography, it's a lot more than 500 people. I fell for the trick. My bad. But still, it's actually a better number than the way they make it sound, right? Saying.
I I don't believe the 500. 500. I saw some footage today that
just at the
that was
presidential
different,
palace,
but
like probably their White House. 500 people. There's no way. It's got to be way more than that.
that said, I mean, there is a pretty serious lackluster pro-government movement there. It's not really exactly, peachy and peachy like evil versus good in that regard. The government does have serious problems, and there are.
We shouldn't act like it's a mystery. It's a class war. Like in Venezuela, it's all we got to do is look at ourselves to understand that it's the black people that are pro Maduro, and it's the rich white people that are pro Guaido.
I mean, I see a lot. I see a lot of evidence I see a lot of evidence to that. I really do. Guaido himself is by no means a good actor in this, but I'm not. I mean, the people are more there trying to keep the institutions. They're not necessarily pro Maduro. They're more pro the institutions that Maduro's predecessor built. So they don't really want to wipe away what's already there to instill a guy who's going to really wipe away what's already there.
I'm going to be quote worthy right now because I think it's true that a lot of people that are evil and do evil actions don't actually mean to do it. They're just going along with the system that they're involved in.
Yeah, I agree, but I just don't believe that. I mean, I don't think Maduro has a massive amount of support in the streets, but the institutions that Chavez built do, and Maduro represents at least safety in those things. And so, I mean, he is kind of not really a powerful leader, and he's not really the inspirer of faith and courage that Chavez was. He's kind of more a bureaucrat, just trying to save himself. But at the same time, at the same time, I mean, the people there in Venezuela don't want to just undo what they've spent the last 20 years doing.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Why this is such an amazing story because, according to the media, half the people, according to the media, Venezuela is like the United States when it comes to the split in politics, like half for one side, half for the other. But I don't think that's really true. I think even though Maduro is not perfect, and I'm not going to argue that he is, he's got the support, he's got the popular support of people more than Trump does.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The people have a pretty significant trust in the institutions of their government, actually.
Oh, and
that's why it hasn't gone insane.
How can you call Maduro a dictator when he lets Guaido do all this crazy shit that he does, and his supporters who are likely paid?
That's true. And to bring up the blackout a couple of
who did that
months ago. Yeah, whoever did that. But just for 1 second, imagine what would happen in your town if the lights went out for 2 days. That's a pretty significant statement of the Venezuelan people that they just came together instead of tearing each other apart, which I'm pretty sure we would do.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I just heard someone talking about that on a podcast.
Yeah.
So many podcasts, Yeah, I want to hear you think. I think that's really entertaining for me.
Yeah.
Here.
Anyway, I think that's an interesting idea, but they certainly don't want to rid themselves of the institutions that they've got. That's absolutely evident. That's one thing that I can say pretty decisively from here.
So let's get a little history on. Let's try to do our dumbass best at covering the history of Venezuela as we know it, real quick.
Well, Venezuela was part of the Spanish Empire for a long period of time. That ended pretty early in the 1800s. It was actually a lot like us in a lot of ways. They rebelled for a lot of the same reasons, and at the time, Spain was kind of weakened and couldn't really hold its holdings. So a lot of Latin America had revolutions, like all over Latin America, all around that period of time, because the empire was falling and everything just sort of just kind of rolled from there. But like more recently, Venezuela has had a lot lot of interference from the United States. They've continually had a lot of problems with the United States interfering in their elections and their political issues, and trying to make sure that, in essence, their interests were continued all through this Cold War, like they did to the rest of South America all through the Cold War. That none of that is even a secret. Venezuela actually got off pretty light overall. Compared to like Chile or a few other countries in the area, Venezuela had only a pretty brief period of time of dictatorship. They got rid of that in 1958.
I want to pause here on this part of the article. Both, because I'm showing the article as we talk, so we're not the only ones talking. The screen is also talking.
Okay.
Both Guaido and Maduro hope to prove the strength of their support with large demonstrations on May 1st, celebrating internationally as Workers' Day.
Yes.
So, it's basically a civil war up in the joint.
It's that's kind of what we've wanted the whole time. When everything falls apart in that particular region, and it's the Syria story. It's exactly the Syria story. What we want to do is we want to create an unstable environment in which we can take control. And unlike Syria, it's actually in our hemisphere, so we can take control. There's very little opposition to us in South America. That everybody's pretty much going to line up behind us because, strangely enough, except for Venezuela, most of South America has swung very hard to the right in the last 5 years.
And that's why I wanted to make sure that we don't forget about history. Like the shortest shorthand I can give for it is it seems like Russia got there to invest in Venezuela before we did. And that's why they're still the country they are.
The long and the short of it, from in my opinion, is yes, they did invest. Yes, Russia did invest, and so did China. And actually, more than anything else, what we're trying to circumvent is China. China has invested very heavily in Venezuela over the last 10 to 15 years. And Venezuela is, I mean, not really all that indebted to it per se, because Venezuela's been providing oil like hand over fist. And I mean, we've actually been setting this up for a long time. Almost for the last decade, we've been trying to destabilize the situation in Venezuela, and it's mainly because we didn't like Chavez. Chavez, more than anybody else, called us out on our corruption, and he represented a really, really hard left-wing wave through South America that went all the way through South America. And then over the last 5 years, after Chavez died and a few others stepped down and a few other things had taken place in other countries, all of South America has swung really hard to the other direction. A lot of this is going on with popular support. It's a really, really kind of an interesting story.
Wow, yeah, no, popular support is a difficult thing to handle and keep under control because people will believe some crazy shit, my dude.
Sometimes they do.
I think that's one of the hurdles that we face, like, you know, and I can't let this episode go by without saying that, you know, Maduro may not be the best guy out there, but it's better than us putting all these sanctions on the people. And there's estimations that 40,000 people died because they have access to less of life's necessities because of us, because we said so. It's horrible. It makes me mad. It really does.
Siege warfare is a war crime for a reason.
That's
we
right.
don't do embargoes.
Thank you.
We don't do embargoes for a reason. Those are considered war crimes. These are considered acts of war. In any other time in history, these would be fighting words. It's just, and we do it to everybody all the time. We're doing it to our allies. We actually just decided that we're going to sanction German companies that are doing business with Iran. Oh, we gave them a pass for a little while, and then we said, oh, but we're not giving them a pass anymore. We do it to everyone. This isn't an act of war. It just hurt, and the vast majority of the time, it just hurts the common people. I don't know if you've seen a picture of Kim Jong-un recently, but it doesn't appear to me like he's starving. But the North Korean people actually kind of are.
True. I'm scanning this Wikipedia article, and I'm not very surprised at the lack of story or fact. It's just a lot of word salad, really.
Well, I mean,
okay. Maybe it's just hard for me to understand because I'm stupid, but I'm not.
No. There's no context.
Yeah.
And there's no. There's
cacao beans. There's cacao beans.
The problem
Don't worry about it. We got it all figured out. We figured it out. It's the cultivation of cacao beans.
Yeah.
It's a lot of word salad, my dude.
Well, actually, there's I found the Wikipedia article to be not all that useful either, and but
You want to move?
I do find economic graphs to be kind of useful, and there is a hidden story that that between the years of 2001 and 2010, the largest success story of any system, even larger than the success story of Hong Kong, the largest time in history where the biggest population was pulled out of poverty took place. And that is absolutely why, in my opinion, they're not willing to tear down what they've spent the last 20 years building.
All right, we just solved all the world's problems. That's great.
I'm not sure if that's true.
Trying to catch up with you on the timeline. 1958 to 1999, 99 to the president. I'll read an excerpt from Wikipedia so you don't have to squint at the screen like I do. I'm here to work for you people. All right. Chavez, a former paratrooper lieutenant colonel who had led an unsuccessful coup d'etat in 1992, was elected president in 1998 on a platform that called for the creation of a fifth republic, a new constitution, a new name, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and a new set of relations between socio-economic classes. In 1999, voters approved a referendum on a new constitution, and in 2000, re-elected Chavez, also replacing many members of his Fifth Republic Movement party into the National Assembly. Supporters of Chavez called the process symbolized by him the Bolivarian Revolution, and were organized into different government-funded groups, including the Bolivarian Circles. Have you heard of the Bolivarian Circles?
Yes.
I'm gonna open a new tab.
They're
created by Hugo Chavez. The circles also have been described as militias and compared to Cuba's Committees for the Defense of Revolution and Panama's Dignity Battalions. They are named in honor of Simón Bolívar, the leader who transformed most of South America from Spanish colonial outposts to the independent states now in place. Cheers. I want to know more. This is the eating part of Eat, Sleep, and Breathe Politics. This is great.
Yeah, that's kind of my issue with Wikipedia is like a source for this stuff.
Like information.
What?
A little bit of information. Like you get some leads that you can follow. Like, There was no story in that story, but there was leads.
Yeah, there are definite leads. And like Wikipedia's encyclopedia, it's kind of great for you can just go ahead and roll down a rabbit hole for and it'll tell you all kinds of crazy stuff. It really will. The South American rabbit hole actually.
Consumers of information, and thank you for anyone that's tuning in, because if you are, you're a smart consumer of information.
I highly recommend. God, what is the name? I highly recommend The Silence and the Scorpion, the coup against Chavez and the making of it's I don't remember. I think it was the subtitle.
Right.
Anyway,
Let's go over our short list of trusted sources to get information about Venezuela. So we got Abby Martin, and we got Jimmy Dore. Who else would you put on that list?
To be completely frank, I like Abby Martin. She's the only person that I really trust that has been actually on the ground in Venezuela. She's seen what she's seen, and she's like, looking down the street and telling me what she saw, which is kind of what I want. However, I as far as news sources go on the Venezuela topic, man, there is not a single person on this planet that does not have a dog in this game. Everything for some reason is hinging on Venezuela right now. It's the craziest thing. So if you're looking anywhere but outside of the box, no matter which box it is, that's the BBC, MSNBC, MSNBC, CNN, RT, even in this particular case, you can usually trust them to be pretty honest about stuff that's going on in the U.S. But I'm not sure I really trust them to not feed me a narrative in the same way that MSNBC is just feeding me the opposite narrative. The thing about Venezuela is everybody has a viewpoint. Everyone. It's really crazy what's actually going on there. If you take a real look at it, we have a corrupt government, and then we have a whole bunch of people who don't like them for ideological reasons, who have a lot of power to put pressure on a corrupt government to, in the end, screw the people.
U.S. sanctions companies sending Venezuelan oil to Cuba. The U.S. Treasury on Friday unveiled financial sanctions on 4 maritime shipping companies and 9 of their oil tankers over crude deliveries to Cuba. The pressure of Havana to end support for Venezuela. What the fuck? The sanctions raise U.S. pressure on the illegitimate regime of former President Nicolas Maduro, in quotations. The Treasury said in a statement. The United States sanctions targeted 3 Liberian shipping corporations and 1 based in Italy. Of the 9 tankers penalized, 4 had delivered Venezuelan crude to Cuba. The sanctions freeze U.S.-based assets of the company. 9 tankers. That's a lot of money that would have went to a socialized oil company. What is our problem with that? What is our problem with that? Why is that not okay?
Why we feel that that's not okay is because when Chavez came into power, he took the oil fields of Venezuela from American companies that had been sold to them by previous regimes. That's why we have a problem with it. We invested a bunch of money in it, and they decided not to pay us back. But it's not us. It's Exxon and like. I'm sorry, I'm not really interested in Exxon's money, to be honest.
Right.
They're doing fine.
So I guess that's a clear signal that we're moving on to the final segment is, what do we really think? Moving on to it now.
Well, that's why we're so angry at them. They took back their land, which was sold by a previous regime that we backed and installed and made sure, and if they didn't go along, we would have used and did use violence to make sure that it was that regime in power at the time. Chavez came along and took back things that he believed belonged to them. That through coercion were taken from them. I have a lot of respect for Chavez as a leader. He was corrupt.
Right.
He was, but all leaders are. There's not really I haven't really seen an exception.
Right.
So, yeah. I have a lot of respect for him. He did a lot of good for his people.
I want to stand on your shoulders now and say that, even with the best of intentions, when you try to set up an actual socialist state, the pressure from the capitalist world is going to crush you. It's not there. Even if he's the best guy in the world, he's going to get corrupted in some ways, and he's going to get forced to do things he never wanted to in other ways.
There are definitely a lot of really strong headwinds. We base our private businesses on international treaties, and we use our guns, in essence, to back up free market exchanges, is what we like to call it, but it's not. If we don't like the results of the market shifting and the result and moving around on us, then we go, well, we're gonna compel you to do this by any means necessary. And watch, we're about to do it. We're about to do it right now. It's going to go down.
I don't drive anymore. Do you still see Citgos anywhere in your town?
No, we don't. Really? We don't have them around here.
Oh, you never did?
Not that I saw. We got a lot of Sunoco's. I don't like those guys. But
are they Venezuelan oil too?
No. Sunoco is us.
Stay on topic, man.
Okay, my bad.
Just kidding, of course.
Just saying. Well, that's what we got around here. You better bring up guys.
The rest of the article. Okay, we're good. This is why I need an editor. I need someone at the soundboard that can cut all that out, but we keep it real on the Not Televised Revolution.
We keep it real and unprepared, kind of like
everybody else that doesn't want to watch the news.
Yeah, it's cool. It's all right.
We'll try to put a little sugar on the pill for you.
Well, I'm gonna try. I don't know. But as I was saying, watch. We're gonna do it. We're gonna roll into Venezuela with a whole bunch of tanks and a whole bunch of boots on the ground. We're gonna blow it up, and then we're gonna have a migrant crisis like we've been afraid of for the last 3 years. It's gonna be great.
All right, give me a second. I'm giving people time to read real quick. Okay. U.S. wants UN to revoke credentials of Maduro's government. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence called on the United Nations on Wednesday to revoke the UN credentials of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's government and recognize opposition leader Juan Guaido as the country's legitimate leader. He said the United States had drafted a UN resolution and called on all states to support it. Diplomats said it is unlikely that Washington will get the support needed to adopt such a measure. Huh. What diplomats? Don't you love how vague? This is Al Jazeera and they're still vague.
Yeah. As I said, everybody has a dog in that fight, man. Al Jazeera is very closely tied to Saudi Arabia. They kind of have to be, even though Saudi Arabia and Qatar...
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Everybody has a dog in that fight.
Yeah, they're in direct competition for the energy market.
Yeah, that too, but more so along the lines of we're helping them bomb Yemen, so they're going to help us bomb Venezuela.
Great.
they're going to they've increased the price at their production, therefore reduced the price of oil, therefore exacerbating the issue with Venezuela, which isn't, I mean,
Okay.
my gas is a little cheaper, which is a good thing, but on the other hand, Venezuela is kind of suffering partially because of falling gas prices and increased competition. That does happen. Stuff happens.
All right.
And this is where the mismanagement comes in. They depended solely upon the oil. And when the United States decided to stop importing oil and start, actually exporting it, and everybody else started doing it, then when the oil no longer had the same value that it did in the early 2000s, it became a big problem for them.
Oil is a big problem for everybody. I think
it's a big problem for everybody. But
we should do a thank you and a goodbye, because the next question I have for you is definitely a whole episode. But I want to quit flying before I touch the sun.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Don't get too hot.
Yeah. I'm so glad, that we're getting this stuff together, and I want to thank you everyone for watching, and I don't have an outro.
I want to thank you for listening.
Yeah, I think it was difficult. We had a little bit of fun. We pulled it off. 3 for 3 now, so far. So it's a good start. Anyways, see you next time.